Hey, this is Erik from Road to Reliability, and I have a quick question. Do you want to improve the productivity of your maintenance workforce by 35% without having to hire more people? So you can get more work done and finally get rid of that backlog that's piled up over the years? So you can break out of that vicious reactive maintenance cycle that is destroying your plant, undermining morale, and hurting your bottom line? So you can finally become more proactive and start your journey to a more reliable, more profitable, and safer plant? Before I tell you more about how I can help you achieve this, let me share a bit about myself. My name is Erik Hupje. I'm the founder of the Road to Reliability website and managing director of R2 Reliability, the company behind this site. After more than 20 years working in the energy industry, having lived and worked in the Netherlands, the UK, the Philippines, the Sultanate of Oman, and Australia, I now help plant managers improve maintenance productivity, reduce maintenance costs, and increase reliability through the use of my Road to Reliability framework. And this means you will get your maintenance done with less people. You will spend less on maintenance. You will have higher uptime and improved profitability. You see, this is my passion, and I look forward to working with motivated leaders like yourself. And almost always the first step on that road to reliability is to improve maintenance productivity through better planning and scheduling. And that is exactly what I'll be discussing with you in this video. So if you're a plant manager or a maintenance manager and you really want to improve the performance of your plant and tackle that thorny issue of maintenance productivity, then you are in the right place. Because in the next few minutes, I'll explain why so few plants around the world achieve good maintenance productivity, what you can do about it, and how I can help you succeed on a journey where most others eventually fail. I will show you a proven framework that I've personally used to implement maintenance planning and scheduling in multiple plants around the world with resounding success. And what I'm going to show you is, simply put, the most cost-effective and most sustainable way to implement planning and scheduling in your plant and to realize that 35% improvement in productivity. Now, you probably already know this, but most industrial plants in the world struggle with low maintenance productivity. A maintenance productivity or wrench time of 20 to 30% is pretty common. That means a maintenance technician working a 10-hour shift will get 2 to 3 hours of tool time in that same 10-hour shift. 2 to 3 hours productively doing maintenance. And the rest of the day is time lost due to all kinds of delays. Delays like looking for parts, looking for tools, looking for drawings and procedures, waiting for operations to isolate the equipment, waiting for instructions from the maintenance supervisor, waiting for other trades to do their part. If you look at the average day of a maintenance technician, it's just full of waste. And that waste occurs not because your maintenance technicians don't know what they're doing or because they're not working hard enough. That waste occurs because organizations allow all kinds of inefficiencies to cause havoc in the day-to-day maintenance process. And chances are that since you're watching this video, your organization is struggling with these exact same issues. But in times like these, with a global pandemic and ever-increasing cost pressures, you simply can't afford excessive waste and low productivity. Maintenance planning and scheduling can help tremendously to eliminate the waste in your maintenance process and to boost your productivity. And you achieve this boost in productivity by preparing your jobs properly, by grouping work so you naturally drive efficiency, by kitting and staging your tools and materials, and by working to an agreed schedule and by protecting that schedule. And when you do all that, a typical plan should be able to increase productivity from a low 30% to a pretty decent 45%. And that is the equivalent of increasing your workforce by 35% without hiring anyone. And in case you're wondering what's that worth, I've created a simple table that gives you a rough estimate of the size of the prize. Look at this. If your organization employs 50 maintenance technicians, staff or long-term contractors, doesn't matter, and they cost you $50 an hour, then you can gain more than $500,000 per year when you increase your maintenance productivity from 30% to 45%. And you achieve that through better planning and scheduling. $500,000 each and every year. And if you have a larger, more complex site that struggles with productivity, the price can be a lot bigger. So for a plant with, say, 100 technicians and a higher cost base of, say, $80 an hour, the potential value to be realized through better planning and scheduling is $1.7 million per year. Per year! Now, have a look at this table. Where does your organization sit? What is the size of the prize for you? So clearly, the prize can be huge, and the great thing is, maintenance planning and scheduling is not that complex. It's easy to understand. In fact, just about everybody can go and buy a book on planning and scheduling, read it, and start making some changes. It's that simple. And unfortunately, that is exactly what most organizations do. And the problem is, implementing planning and scheduling so it actually yields the productivity improvements you're after, and making sure that those improvements are sustainable isn't that easy. And that's where most organizations go wrong. They fail to properly implement maintenance planning and scheduling. In fact, many organizations don't even really finish their implementation. And those organizations that do eventually implement planning and scheduling often find that those hard-earned gains are usually eroded after a few months, as old habits just die hard and the new work practices are never really embedded. And before you know it, the team's productivity slides back to where it was before. And so we have thousands of plants around the world simply muddling through with low maintenance productivity. But the good news is, I can now offer you a proven solution to help you overcome your productivity challenge. What most organizations fail to realize is that implementing planning and scheduling is really a change management project. When you implement maintenance planning and scheduling, you're going to change the way people work. You will most likely introduce some new roles and certainly different responsibilities. You will set up new meetings, you will use new tools and templates, you will introduce new performance metrics, and you will certainly be looking to change the mindset. All this is change. Quite a lot of change. And experience across industry shows that change programs have poor success rates. It's an often quoted statistic that something like 70% of change programs do not succeed in achieving their goals. Now that figure of 70% is not hard data, so maybe it's lower in reality, like 50%, or it could be higher, like 75 or 80%. It doesn't really matter. I don't like those odds, and neither should you. So the real question is, why does experience show such high failure rates? Well, it's because people fail to adequately manage the change aspects. They simply focus on the technical bits of the projects. And going back to my earlier statement that implementing planning and scheduling is a change management project, there are three key aspects to that statement. To successfully implement maintenance planning and scheduling in your organization, you really need to understand planning and scheduling as a process. You need to understand how to effectively run it in a maintenance organization and how to align it to your organization's needs. You need to know where you can change the process and where you, your team, and your organizations need to change to fit the basic requirements of an effective planning and scheduling process. But you also need to understand the basics around implementing change in an organization. You need to identify and manage stakeholders. You need to create a compelling case for change and communicate effectively. And that means communicating in different ways with different messages to different stakeholders. And that's a fair bit of work. And it's the kind of work that most technical people just don't like doing. And since it's often technically minded people who lead planning and scheduling implementations, this kind of work often does not get done, or it does not get done properly. And as a result, the project does not deliver the required change, or the changes are simply not sustained. Now, the third aspect to this statement is that you really do need to approach the implementation of planning and scheduling as a clear project with a beginning and an end. You need to nominate a project lead and set up a project team with clear accountabilities, clear milestones, and clear deliverables. You need to identify and manage the risks so you can deliver the required scope on time and on budget. Now, don't let me scare you off doing this. I teach a simple but highly effective framework to help you successfully implement maintenance planning and scheduling. It's divided in 6 phases, and phase 1 is simply to set up the project. Phase 2 is where you define the changes that you need to make in your organization, in your work processes, and your systems. Phase 3 is about getting all those changes ready for rollout. And Phase 4 is simply implementing that new planning and scheduling process in your organization. And once the transition is stable, you move into Phase 5 to close out the project and identify your lessons learned. And finally, you move into a Phase 6, which is essentially a never-ending phase of sustaining and continuously improving your performance. The importance of using a framework like this is that it ensures that all those things that need to be done are done, and they are done when they need to be done. In fact, to make sure everything that needs to be done is done when it should be done, my framework will make you go through simple but effective project reviews at the end of each phase. And during these reviews, you simply check that each deliverable activity has been completed and has been completed properly. This way, you won't have any nasty surprises halfway down your implementation just because you forgot to do something or because someone thought that something was maybe not as important and could be skipped. Now, of course, there's a bit more to it than just 6 phases. And so what you see here on the screen are the actual steps in the implementation framework, with the 6 phases at the top and below that all the steps mapped out. Now, at first glance, it may seem a little complicated, but when you consider that you are about to embark on a project that is potentially worth millions of dollars to your organization, you probably see the value of having a strong, proven implementation framework that you can fall back on and that will help you succeed. And through my online training course, I will teach you and your staff not only the essential knowledge about maintenance planning and scheduling in simple, plain English. I also teach you how to successfully implement the planning and scheduling process in your organization. In fact, I have a whole module in the course dedicated to the implementation framework. And that is unique. There is no other planning and scheduling course out there that does that. And the course is fully online and on demand, so no matter where you are in the world or what your schedule is like, you can learn when and where it suits you. Now, let me tell you once more, this simply is the most reliable and most cost-effective method to implement maintenance planning and scheduling in your organization. And as part of this approach, I will teach you and your staff not only everything you need to know about planning and scheduling, but also how to successfully implement it. I will provide access to high-quality online on-demand training, which is really efficient and an effective way to train your staff, no matter where in the world they are. I'm going to provide you with a unique, proven implementation framework that combines the essential elements of change management and project management to make sure you succeed. I'm going to give you all the tools and templates you need to implement maintenance planning and scheduling in your organization so you can make a quick start. But let's be clear. You have to do the heavy lifting here. And that's why this implementation approach is so cost effective, because you're not hiring expensive external consultants. Instead, you and your team are going to identify what needs to be changed. You're going to work through that and you're going to implement the change by following what I teach. You see, over the years, I've come to realize that pretty much every organization out there has talented employees. Some companies have talent in abundance. It's just everywhere. Other times, talent may be less obvious, but trust me, the talent is there. You just need to find it. And by unleashing your company's talented employees and by investing in them through training like this and empowering them to make changes for the better, you set yourself and your company up for long-term sustained success. And when I work with a company, I can provide direct coaching to your team to ensure they understand what is being taught and to act as a sounding board when they have questions or concerns, and to ensure they will successfully deliver the implementation and achieve the desired improvement in productivity. Now, I'm going to share the details of how we can get started in a minute. But first, I need to explain why this framework is so successful. And reason number one is really quite simple, and that is that this is not done to you by expensive consultants who fly into your organization and then tell you what you should be doing and then move on again. Now, with my approach, this change is led and managed by you and your team. So this is not done to you, it is done by you. And that brings me to reason number two, ownership and knowledge. They are the key to success and to sustainability for a change like this. And with this approach, you really get plenty of that. And reason number three, this is a battle-proven approach. I didn't invent it. I learned it early in my career. I learned it and I've applied it many, many times, and now I teach it. And look, I personally have implemented this approach, this framework, in a number of plants around the world with great success, so I know it works. And this is why I'm now teaching this to clients across the world. After more than 20 years working in industry for major international companies, I'm now in a position where I can help you. I can help you improve the productivity of your maintenance workforce by 35% without hiring more people. So if you are a plant manager or a maintenance manager and you need to tackle your maintenance productivity challenge and are ready to be the next client to work with me, then fill out the application form on this page. Now, I ask all potential customers to fill out this application because it helps both you and me determine if this is the right solution for you. I want to make sure all my clients succeed, and I don't want to waste your time on a call when what I offer is not really what you want or what you need. I work with a limited number of companies at a time, usually 2 to 3, to make sure each of my clients succeeds with their implementation. If you're watching this video right now, that means there are still spots open. So click on the link below, fill in the application form, and schedule a call. And in that call, we're going to discuss how to move forward. So go ahead, click that button below and fill in the application form. I really look forward to speaking to you.